legends, and welcome to our next edition of guides for the brand new Ultimate Golf format, the Golf Grand Prix tournament. So like last week, we're going to give you guys guides on each round. We're going to explain what we're doing, give you the numbers even if you're not a caddy user, and whenever we make a miss, we're going to explain some things you can do to correct that the next time or for the first time when you guys take the shot. So today we've got 3 holes. We're playing at Banff Springs, and like the other formats last time, we're starting on the middle tees, and this time our club selection includes a Red Buckheader 2, a Maverick 8, Iron Maiden 4, Rattler 3, Hypnotics 5, Mercury 7 and Gemini 7. Now, a couple of really nice clubs in the bag here, and you're going to see the setup for a couple of pretty easy drops. And today, all of our drops and shots are with a trophy ball, just a Tour Pro trophy ball. So no need to go and spend all your cash on the premium balls. We'll save that for the later rounds where they're probably going to become more critical and where we probably need pins to get things done as well. Today we're playing for 2 premium balls and 2 gold pins. So we've got the low rider ball, which is an 82% wind reduction, 10% power, and quite a nice swing zone on this one. We've got a plus 7%. So really nice ball, worth having a crack today and trying to get into the top 2 to win yourself one of those balls. And I can't see on the icon, but we've either got a gold club power pin or a gold ball power pin. Either way, great pin that you want to have in your bag. That's going to get you a lot closer on those short par 4s and often with the long par 5s as well. So really useful pin, definitely worth playing for. That's enough from me. Let's get into it and show you guys how to get these drops. Okay, so hole 1, we're at the first par 3 on Banff Springs. This one's actually a nice, easy setup, really repeatable. I've dropped it 3 times now. So what we're going to do is apply 2 bars of backspin, 2 bars of right spin, all of our backspin, and then you'll see that I line it up just to the right of the flag here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and use caddy numbers. So we've got a 3.9 mile an hour wind. And we end up pulling wind divided by 1.0555. So if you're not a caddy user, you can chuck that number in and get yourself the adjustment. This time we're using 3.75 rings, and you'll see that this one comes in really nice. The speed's good. No need to do anything odd. No need for a backspin pin. This one's just going to go straight in. Go ahead, take our shot. Slight grey ball, not enough to change it. And the other 2 drops were ultimate, so I'm confident in this setup. And drops beautifully, exactly where we aimed. Now, there's a couple of wind angles on this one that I've found. So one that is more a direct side wind, and one that is an angular wind up to about 15 degrees off a side wind. If you get the one that is more side, so almost a direct side wind, there's a tiny little extra bar of backspin. We'll just go back and have a look at that on the Rattler 3. Just get to the spot where I bring up the backspin so I can show you guys. Okay. So you can't really see it in the video, but after the 5th bar of backspin, there's a tiny smidge of extra backspin on the 6th bar that is available. So if you get that side wind, you just want to take that little smidge off. So just with the 5 bars of backspin. If you get the one that is more of a tail component, then keep all of the backspin on. You guys are going to get the drops on this one for sure. All right, let's move on to hole 2. Okay, so our next hole is hole 3 at Banff Springs, which is a par 5. For this one, we're going to try and get really close to our max range for Maverick. All we're going to do here is apply 2 bars of topspin on the driver, and put the left outside edge of the 10th ring right up against the rough. Go ahead and take our shot, and we come in here, I think, to about 298 yards, I think. I'll just wait until the yardage comes up. You want to be within a yard of this, so 293 yards, sorry. Now, a couple of things we need to do here. What we're going to do is try and get the rollout speed right. So we're applying 3 bars of backspin to start and 2 bars of right spin. And then we're going to count back until we get to a spot where the end of the guide tip is roughly a ring short of the front of the cup. So I'm doing this because I've only got a 60% shot view. I want to still see what it looks like when it's going to roll out. So I know that if I leave a little bit of backspin off, I can kind of judge where it's going to go to after I then put the backspin back on. So with our 3 bars of backspin, we find ourselves roughly a ring short with the end of the guide tip. And then you can see that I set this one up just to the right edge of the cup. So it's just on the inside right edge of the cup. Now we'll keep that in mind so I can show you, because this one's a slight miss. So once we've set it up, we go and apply all of our backspin, and I'm 2.6 rings from max here, which gives me an adjustment of wind divided by 0.63. So if you guys are close to the yardage that I had off my drive, you should be able to use that wind number. Or if you've got Caddy, nice and easy, you can go ahead and just plug in your numbers and you'll get the right values. Now, 2 things are happening here. As you can see, we're pulling downhill. So when you pull downhill, you over adjust in the direction of the wind, which I didn't quite compensate for enough. And for those of you that have played this hole on a normal tournament and know it well, you'll know that there's a heavy right to left break right at the cup. So those 2 things added together actually mean you're going to need to adjust to be very much on the right hand side of the cup. And you can see, even though I started on the right edge, I end up to the left. So for you guys, what I would recommend would be to either, once you've set up in the same spot as I did, apply maybe half a bar of right spin more after you've done the setup, or you can move the target further to the right. Now, the only thing about moving the target further to the right, you would have seen we were really close to the fringe of the green there. So if we go much further right, there's a risk of us hitting that fringe and completely ruining our approach shot. So probably the best bet is to add some right spin, but work with your club. You guys should be able to figure out the right value to add for your right spin there to get the drop. All right, so now we're going to move on to the last hole, hole 3. Okay, so for this one, again, we're using a trophy ball, and we're going to get ourselves up into wedge range because we've got some really solid hypnotics numbers, pretty close to wind divided by 2. We do our adjustment and just blast this one up the fairway. So we end up getting right up there into about a 40% wedge range with a 303 yard drive. Okay, so as I said, that drive has left us in a roughly 50% hive range here coming into our approach shot. Now, again, we're dealing with a club with less ball guide. So what I've done here, as you can see, I'm adding 2 bars of top spin, which that basically gives us our full ball guide view. This works with this club. It'll be different with other clubs. But if we put 2 bars of top spin on before we apply our backspin, that's roughly going to tell us what our rollout looks like. So we put the top spin on, and then we go and have a look to see what the break on the green is doing. You can see there's a bit of left to right here, so I add about 1.5 bars of left spin. Then we go ahead and line it up with the tip of the guide straight at the cup, a little bit off-centered for the left to right break, and then all we do is go and apply all of our backspin. Now, for me, I am, as I said, I think I end up about 40%, maybe a little bit more than 40% range here for the Hypnotics. 4.1 mile an hour wind with a bit of tail. So what are we at? 41% distance, and that actually works out to be wind divided by 4.9. So if you guys are really close to that drive yardage that I had, you'll end up with something similar to a wind divided by 4.9, which for me in a 4.1 mile an hour wind gives me a 0.84 ring adjust. Now I go ahead here and find the right spot with my increment markers on my ruler. I do my adjustment and make sure we're in the right spot, centered on the shot, and you'll see this one comes in really nice speed right at the cup, exactly where we want it. So there you go. There's 3 holes, 2 drops, and 1 really close miss. So you guys can go and correct for that miss on the second hole, and you've got a really good shot at 3 drops with your trophy balls today. Alright guys, get out there, go and win your bracket, get yourself some nice prizes, and we'll see you tomorrow for another guide. Cheers.